Ladies and gentlemen, we have Joe from Solar Systems. We have Hannah from Hannah's Elsewhere.
Hi.
Hello, hello, hello. This is your Aries trio once again coming back live. We all have Aries moon, and all of them are within a 5-degree or less radius to this eclipse in Aries. So we were talking backstage, and we are like, all right, we're definitely going to run a little breath work exercise for y'all early on. Before we do the breath work, let's kind of just do like some mini insight. And I'm gonna ask Joe and Hannah on 2 separate occasions, like, what are you most excited about with this eclipse, and what is most bothersome? So I'll ask Joe first.
Oh, okay. I'm excited for what I'm doing because I don't know if you've ever seen on the internets those like almost like paracord webs, like those type of things that you can like make in like a tree house, kind of like a tree fort type of thing. I'm gonna make one of those on the eclipse to like lay down in and actually watch it happen. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
And what's kind of pissing me off about it is just the Aries movements, and in specifically, I've just been like hyper focused on if I don't feel that someone is like benefiting me or like amplifying my goals, I'm like cutting them out like very, very sharply.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, Hannah, how about you?
What am I most excited about? Like on a personal level, or are we talking more sort of collective?
Personal.
Just personal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what came to my mind there is kind of funny because before we went on the live, you were talking about your Aries moonness.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, my Aries moon is in the 8th house. I can't really relate so much, you know. So I'm kind of excited for the thrill and the drive and the push to maybe go, hey, no, actually, I want to be able to assert myself more and stand up for myself and just push myself outside of my comfort zone. But then the scary thing is the same thing because the Chiron energy, I'm thinking to myself, it's scary, right? It's scary to open myself up.
What will be out of the comfort zone? What are you actually thinking about? What will be out of the comfort?
Establishing trustworthy relationships where I can actually really pour my heart out and open up, you know. In my 8th house, I feel as if, well, to speak on it personally, there's a lot that's been kind of coming up for me in therapy. So I feel as if this is a big push within my therapy journey. So I'll say that without getting too personal.
Cool. Yeah. Have you been seeing, and it's just a personal thought that I had, I was talking to some people, have you been seeing that therapy is like with that Libra eclipse coming to an end? Or at bare minimum having like a major shift in how therapy is distributed or maintenance? And it's just a curiosity.
Have I been seeing that in terms of within the therapy space?
Have you been seeing like just any, especially because like I've been thinking about it from, because I've been doing therapies, but not necessarily with a therapist, right? Like if I look at it for myself, like acupuncture for me was like a form of therapy. Like I'm like, all right, boom, here's this blocked energy in my body, this blocked chi in my body that I've been kind of like doing acupuncture, and it's like restoring blood flow, restoring chi, restoring energy. And I realized a lot of old ass emotions came up. So for me, that was like a form of therapy. So, but in general, like, do you find like therapy is shifting, has changed with the Libra eclipse? Because I know Libra is one of the houses of therapy, right? And so we just went through that full moon lunar eclipse, and I'm curious of like, have you seen any closures, any changes, any major shifts with just the realm of therapy as a whole?
What I've kind of noticed lately is a few, how do I say, mentors or guides within the thetherapy space, but questionable. They're questionable practices being exposed, such as Jay Shetty would be one. If you heard of him, it's like a monk kind of.
I did hear something. I didn't follow too much further, but I heard that he's getting called out whether he's authentic or not.
Yeah, so things like that. I think, you know, Libra and truth, right? Truth, karma. So
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. No, I get that. I get that. So, I always make a joke about this. I call these the Bali coaches. Um, and I call them the Bali coaches. Like I used to live there for a little while, and like, and I got not. I'm not saying nothing negative about it, you know. But in general, like, there's a lot of Western influenced coaches living in Bali, right? And they're like, I mean, clients are like $10,000 an hour. It's some I like literally like charging people $10,000 an hour for like one-on-one time. It's bonkers, you know. And it goes way more than that, right? And so, but a lot of it is coming from taking some of these Western practices, bringing it there. And so I kind of leave it there. But I feel like stuff like that, if I think about the Jay Shetty, I don't know enough about the Jay Shetty situation to comment too much further. But I definitely see that people who are coaching and working with people out of integrity, just creating a dependent relationship, especially if it's intentional, I definitely see it. It's cut, right? Like it's cut season. So, okay, cool. Maybe we do the breath exercise, and then we're gonna get ready we're gonna get into rising signs for each person. All right. Don't forget the numbers. Those are timestamps from a previous video. But you'll notice that I went ahead and did what moon is being impacted, aka Aries moon, 9th house for Leo, and then the ruler of the you have the if you'll see, like, as an example, let me just start with Aries because it's the simplest. Okay, so Mars, the ruler of Aries, is in Pisces. And so if you see Mars in Pisces 12th house, it's just transiting 12th house for Aries, right? And I figure it's just a guideline. The moon naturally rules the 4th house of Aries. Okay, and so that's what you see there. And then, but the first house is what is going on for Aries, for example. So as y'all as astrologers, I'm imagining y'all understand that, and then we can kind of, but I don't want to assume. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I kind of skipped around a little bit. I said it in a little jump. I said it literally backwards. But we'll go through. I figured that would just be like a simple guideline for each one as we give a little rising sign. So for everybody watching, I want y'all to go ahead, take a moment, drop your rising sign, and if not just your rising sign, a sign that you have a repeat stellium in. Like, the way I look at it, if you have a stellium, drop that sign. Okay, like, you might not be a Gemini rising, but you might have a Cancer stellium. It may not be your sun, it may not be your moon, but if you have a stellium, I find that those forecasts will impact you tremendously. And a stellium meaning 3 or more of that zodiac sign. So I don't think you should just look at it as, oh, I'm only a Scorpio rising. That's the only forecast I'm going to look at. But that's your personal choice, right? You're your own human. So everybody watching, hit the thumbs up and the likes button. All right. Do know that when we get into that breath exercise, you have Hannah doing Patreon. So take a moment to check out her Patreon if you're looking to join a community, looking to join a tribe, and get video content from her, ask her more questions. All right. Joe has his fixed star reading. I think I see in there in this chat right now. I'll put him up at the top as well. This one's Hannah's. You got Joe's coming right here, his fixed star reading. All right. And there's a little description about what that's about. So check in the bio. As for myself, starting Monday up until my birthday. So my birthday's coming. Hey, I'm doing a little flash out for the eclipse. And so if you're on the email list, you'll have a keyword, and it'll be about 57% off any reading. And that's just never happened in my life. So that's my 12th house. I'm an Aries, right? This is my 12th house gift. Like, life would just like do that. And I was like, okay. So that said, let's go ahead and do let's do a little breath work. So I want to have you just put your hand on top of each other, on top of your heart. Okay. And so feel free, whether it's one hand, two hands. And we'll just start our first one off with a deep sigh. Good. So deep sigh is actually a sound related to Libra and the kidneys, taking fear out of the kidneys. So just let go. Let go of the insecurity. Let go of the weak will. Okay. So now I'm going to do a counterclockwise circle on my heart. Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise
In motion, deprograms energy. It deprograms thoughts. It deprograms emotion. So I'm going to deprogram fear. I'm going to deprogram a weak willpower. I'm going to deprogram insecurities. I'm going to deprogram a lack of faith. And just sit and pause and just notice how I feel as my jaw becomes long, heavy. My ears begin to melt down the side of my face. And notice my eyes getting heavy, my shoulders get heavy. As I take a soft, long, slow, and quiet breath deep into my heart. Slow it down. Allow the air to escape at its own pace, at its own rate. Allow your breathing to regulate itself. Now I'm going to move clockwise and make a circle of my heart. And I'm going to program courage. I'm going to program bravery. I'm going to program initiation. I'm going to program tact. I'm going to program assertion. As I get deeply involved into my own psychology of why I do what I do, I notice that my face is light and my jaw is heavy, becoming longer and longer. As I take a long, slow, quiet, effortless breath into the heart. I notice that air going down into my belly, filling me up like a balloon. As I exhale all the nerves. As I inhale the peace. As I exhale the anxiety. As I inhale faith in myself and belief in my power. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can just wiggle your toes, you can wiggle your fingers, open your eyes at your own rate. Take your time. There's no rush. And just notice for a moment how you feel. Beautiful. All right, I see people pulling in on the comments. It's awesome. Try to spend some extra time on your rising signs, on your sun signs, the things that you're putting. And what I want to do is I'm going to ask Joe, what's the first color that comes to your mind?
Purple and yellow.
Hannah, what's the first color that comes to your mind?
Yellow.
Hey,
Okay.
I called it.
Intuitive.
So this step one for everybody, this is already speaking about our solar plexus, yeah? This city of hidden gems within us. Speaking about how we may be critical about our work, how we may be power hungry for more power, whether in alignment or not, but as well as how our ambitions are purifying and cleansing so that we're doing what we do with purpose, in tune with the proper relationships, authentically relating to one another, authentically relating to money that we earn, to our career and our vocation. Really getting into why do we do what we do so that we can start to do it with compassion, as well as guided by intuition, meaning you don't need to know why you want to do it. But if your instinct brings you joy, do it. So that's step one. Okay. Okay, pick a left hand or right hand, Joe.
Left.
Okay, you have the air signs.
Yay!
Okay. Hannah, pick left or right.
Right.
You have the fire signs.
Yay.
Yay.
All right, and then I guess I'll take water next. Okay. Ooh, I did that the wrong way. There's only 3 of us.
We'll all take,
Modalities?
yeah, do modalities next.
I was realizing I should have did modalities. My bad. Okay.
Yeah, we can all take an extra modality of Earth.
Yeah, right.
Sure.
Unless yeah. Let's go modalities. Unless we stick with this, and then we do the last one. We break one apiece.
That's what I was thinking. Let's
What do
make
you
it.
prefer? Let's do that one. We'll do that one. Okay, so Joe, you have air. Hannah, you have fire. So you'll start the first forecast for Aries. I take water. And then Earth, we'll do one apiece.
Okay.
And we'll go in that same order. Joe will take the first Earth sign. Hannah, you'll take the second. I'll take the third. Okay, here we go. So I'll pull this up, which apparently is already gone because, of course, there's so many comments. Thank y'all for commenting. I appreciate y'all. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. I'm gonna drop this back up on screen, but the comment is too far down, so I gotta copy and paste it.
What times are we kind of thinking about for each, so I don't ramble?
Ain't that the truth?
Straight to the point.
Maybe 5 minutes. Think like 2.5 for the good, 2.5 for the ugly. That was how we structured this. The good, the ugly, 2.5 a pop. So at about 2.5, I'll kind of be like, and then I'll let you know, like, okay, let me try to move it over. So I'm copying right now, and then boom, here we go. Okay, so now I have the first one, Aries. There you go. So what you got for us, Hannah?
All right, so Aries.
New moon in Aries.
Yes, Aries, this is basically your eclipse. Welcome it in all its glory. Chiron will also be with the eclipse, which is actually very, very rare for this to happen, for Chiron to be right with it. So what does this look like for you? I think Aries, on a good level, this is about you really stepping up and stepping out. I think this is about you recognizing your personal power in terms of what you want. You know, when you really do a lot of soul searching, when you look within, it's about considering, okay, what is the next step? And you have this instinctive ability of knowing what you want, Aries. And I love that about you and about the energy. But I also just want to mention with this that this is also about contemplation. Rest when you need to, take it easy if you need to. Your chart ruler, Mars, is in the 12th house during the eclipse. And so there's a lot going on for you on an unconscious, deeply soulful, spiritual level. So you could very well decide, you know what, you want to take some time away from the spotlight, retreat, just go into yourself, Aries, and take some time. You are also going to experience such renewals, I think. Renewals to do with your anger, renewals to do with channeling your anger, right? Channeling it in really effective ways. Get it out. Get it out. Release it, release it, release it. The misconception about anger is that it needs to be rageful. It needs to be violent. We need to scream at people. We don't. So whatever it is that you need to channel that, I hope you channel it in healthy ways. Also, just be cautious as well, I would say, when we kind of switch it to the more negative view of this. Be cautious of addiction. Be cautious of, we know that basically, Aries, you've worked through a lot of addictive tendencies. Neptune has been in your 12th house since 2011. You're not going to go back to those old ways. You know you're not. So use this eclipse to your advantage as well. But as well, just do be wary, just not to repeat the same mistakes. You've been there, you've done that. Mercury is also retrograde in your sign. Don't take the bait, please. You could very well want to take the bait. You could very well think, F that, like you're gonna bite that biting point. That's why I describe it within me. I've got Moon and Aries in the 8th house, and I look at it as the bite. I know when it is. I know I feel it. When I feel that bite, I'm like, hold on, pause. Right? This is what Neptune in the 12th house has been teaching you so much since 2011, how to also control that, right? That part of you, and being able to then act from a place of greater control and greater self-respect and honor. So yes, Aries, just be cautious of those things. Try not be super pushy, demanding, try not insist on having things your way. Aries, if there's anything I could say for this for you, is choose your inner peace, serenity, peace, go within. All the spiritual stuff you've been doing, keep at it, right? You've grown, Aries.
Facts. I feel that. I swear to God, last night I was laying in bed and I looked over and I was like, "You smell alcohol?" I kid you not. I was smelling alcohol and I'm like, and I haven't ever drank alcohol more than a year. In more than a year, I have not drank alcohol. And yes, last night I just smelled alcohol and I was like, am I the only one smelling alcohol right now? Like it was like fuming too, like the drunk that's like walking down next to you and you're like, man, bro, like take a shower. You know what I mean? Like it was like that. And so you hit me with that one. I felt that. He said, don't bite. I'm not biting. Okay, beautiful. Joe, you got the first. Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate that. Thank y'all for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. All right. Here we go. Joe, you got the first Earth.
Yeah. But 1 second before we get to Taurus, I feel like we kind of just gloss over, talk about the generalities.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll do that at the end. But no, because we're already doing things complicated and backwards. So let's just continue. You know what I'm saying? So Taurus. Taurus pretty much is in an interesting position because, you know, for the last like 6 to 9 months, don't ignore it. You've been lazy. You haven't done much till like, you know, Uranus went direct and with like Jupiter being retrograde for a little bit. You know how y'all get down. If there's nothing great Martian thing pushing you, the bull ain't running. The bull's taking a sit, possibly a shit, doing whatever it has to do. You know what I'm saying? But with this being the case, Taurus and all of that energy igniting you in your 12th house, you know, once Mercury retrograde, all those old dreams hit. And you know what also hit with old dreams hit? Recognition of all that time in the past of where you could have done something not occurring. Just let you go. And the reason we're kind of dealing with a lot of these energies is because you haven't exactly isolated your values or made a clear direction in terms of what your energies want you to do. And oftentimes with humans, we're a lot good at really being negative, figuring out what we don't want. So this is being in your 12th house, figuring out what you missed out on, what you wanted to do, and all the time that passed is positioning you towards that Aries energy of do it right now. It's giving you a huge opportunity to look at exactly what you want to do, isolate your values, isolate your intentions, so therefore you can actually execute and utilize your energy in a way that is, you know, appeasable to you and enjoyable to you. And one of the things that you do something for so long and you kind of like sit back and hold back, you'll notice that you have either lost your crowd or you've attracted new associations that are really holding you back from what you wanted to do just because you were holding yourself back during that time. So what you kind of have an opportunity of right now is the universe is basically tossing you the alley-oop to not miss out on your, you know, 420 blaze it grandiose experience of the gift that the universe is going to give to everybody, because that's how Jupiter works. It always gives you the gift at the end. So as long as you're not sitting around, you know, 420 will be positive for you. And this is what this Aries eclipse is offering. It's offering you an opportunity to face your mistakes, face what's holding you back, and giving you a very clear kick in the pants to have that bull run and have that, like, you know, aggressive, direct, very like run people over type of energy for your goals. But it has to start with that. You need that ignition, because a lot of Tauruses have gotten it together recently, but they're just pacing around. They're grazing. They're still enjoying the pasture, and they are not barreling ahead towards their goals the way the eclipse will actually put them in a position to do. So to keep it simple, remember your dreams, use that energy from lost time or quote unquote wasted time to charge you up to have double time and live 3 days at once now. And remember to isolate your values, isolate your intentions, so that you can actually have a clear understanding without any mental chatter like we'll probably talk about for the next sign, in terms of focusing on your goals and moving towards them and actually cutting out associations that aren't, you know, enlightening, benefiting, and adding on to your experience and desires. I feel like that sums it up.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Talk about it. Super
That's
dope.
awesome.
Anybody? Any feedback? Any feedback on Tori before we move to Gem?
Yeah,
I never put that connection together, by the way. You said 420. I never actually put two and two together. 420.
Yeah,
The day
that's,
of.
yeah. I
I
mean,
know
well,
that's the conjunction, but I didn't put together. That's the day. It is not the weed day.
yeah.
I didn't even realize until anyway.
For the modern stoners, 710.
I'm like thinking about a particular Taurus in my head right now. That's a major stone.
Who's been adding on to their laziness?
Major stoner. But you know what's awkward? As much as this person is major stoner, their routines hold them so well that you would think that it'd be impossible for them to smoke as much as they do and still get stuff done. But they still exhibit perfect laziness. It's really interesting.
Oh, dude, there's this one climbing documentary that has this dude in it where he basically like lived illegally in Yosemite for 10 years, and his method for evading like a bunch of like the NPS people and like the Park Service and all the rangers and stuff was to move so slowly throughout the woods that it's impossible to be followed because you were moving so slowly because you were trying to follow them, therefore you're obvious.
That is so interesting and like hilarious.
Yeah. No, there were like so many documents where they were calling him an expert in counter surveillance, but he just walked so slowly through the woods they couldn't catch him because he would just like fall asleep behind a tree and call it a day.
That's actually really funny. I met a guy in Thailand who's been off the grid for like 40 years. I think him and his buddies, they like crossed like the Mongolian border with no passport because they didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave, and they just stayed, and they just never went back to the U.S. It was it.
Why not?
They were like, but he can never legally cross, right? Because like that's a long ass time to be running across borders with no passport. So, all right, here we go. Huh?
He committed, man.
Joe,
What are you gonna do?
Joe, this is yours right here. 2.5 minutes.
I know. I got the truth, man. So basically for Gemini in the 11th house, I mean, honestly, I was just talking about this before regarding just like the Aries moon angerness of just like, you know, like not wanting to be around certain people and not wanting to be in certain spaces, right? So it's basically all about like isolating your values and really deciphering how you want to identify in regards to your career and moving forward, right? Like, who do you want to associate with you for your career? Have you defined how you want to make money? Have you defined what's I know that's kind of crazy for Gemini periodically, but what people need to understand is that right now, Geminis, they've kind of, for the past 6 months, they've been experiencing an odd flip where they've kind of been taking over the superpower for Sagittarius in a way, where they've been getting more philosophical, more like studious in a way, and really diving into what it is that they truly want to do. So to like whatchamacallit, to like, I guess like get a little personal with it, like, you know, especially with the Aries moon, like personally, I've been deeper into my study of business and figuring out how to do things a certain way. And I've talked to like Pernell about it a bunch of times where it's like, there's got to be something that like you can do that is beyond just doing readings in terms of the astrology business. And I've been like thinking about that, you know, and you get to like digital products, you get to like doing like groups, you get to doing XYZ. And it's just like, you know, I'm not going to reveal what I discovered, but point blank period is I learned that through isolating my values of what I actually wanted to do with this and actually how I wanted to associate with people who are aligned with those values, right? So for Geminis in particular, it's like right now you have to understand that like maybe you don't love the people you've been around just because they give you, there's like an energy exchange, you know? Like Gemini is just moving beyond that basic level of tolerance in terms of like just associating people for he ha ha, you know, adapting because I can, and understanding that Geminis can literally see somebody's mentality, categorize it, and as long as they don't try to do it consciously, their intuition is on point, right? Because the problem with Gemini is that like they utilize the conscious mind once they discover this little hack that they, you know, do have a lot of like subcategories of different people's mentalities and how they think, which is how they can kind of like reverse engineer what people are about to say and complete their own sentences, and realize that when they consciously do that, it doesn't work. You know, nuances beside the point. The point is stop doing that just for the purpose of associating and extracting information for the sake of extracting information, you know?
Right.
Like
Right.
it's intention time, Gemini. Like, you have to do things. You can't just bop around and like, you know, create your like cargo net scraping across the bottom of the ocean to pick up a couple fish and trash from 10,000 years ago, you know? Like, it's not time for that anymore. It's time to be very precise. It's time to, I guess, to keep the fishing analogy, go spear fishing, find something cool, you know, and actually just like hone in and really isolate, is this person aligned to me or not?
Yeah, no, that was major. I feel like the key with that happening, you have Jupiter coming in Gemini and Uranus coming in Gemini. So Gemini, you better listen to what Joe said as a Gemini, because Jupiter, Uranus, these are collective planets, right? Jupiter has like social contract. Uranus is more of like collective in nature. And so your contracts are coming up, okay, karmically speaking. And so if you don't hear what he just said and clean up your collection, start working with that Virgo type energy and be a little more discerning with getting rid of things simultaneously as you collect, you'll be in a good place. I really feel like you'll be in a good place. You have a lot that you're getting ready to actually implement that you've learned, which means follow what Joe said. That's all I got for you. Follow what Joe said. I think there's some magic that is waiting for you. So who's our next sign? Is it Cancer?
That's you. Oh, wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hannah, you had anything about Gem?
All I can say, Joe, preach.
Let me know.
Preach.
Tell me something I missed.
Facts. Okay, here we go. So, Cancer, you're running through your transit in the 10th house. Okay, obviously the moon rules your first house in general, but it's happening in Aries. So, my first couple things that I have happening, you're getting ready to step further away from the family. I feel like this is said to you so many times, but now you're actually changing your own ethical beliefs about what family means. And it's the kind of thing where when you go through family interactions and you started realizing now that not a lot of people in my family are mature in the way in which they use their emotions to manipulate either me or how I see them manipulate my brother, how I see them manipulate my father. I watch my mom manipulate my father, watch my father manipulate my daughter. You're looking at these things and you're like, wow, this emotional enmeshment is just not healthy for me. And it actually doesn't bring me joy. And it's actually making me sick to my stomach. And you're at the point now where you're wondering, like, how did I ignore this for so long? Like, going into your imagination is not going to be enough anymore, especially running through this 10th house transit, right? Like, it's like 10th house is a house of maturation, right? How can you mature with your instincts? How can you mature with your anger? How can you mature past and beyond the shame, the guilt, and the regret? I feel guilt was a major one of your motivators. Shame as well. How much shaming happens in a family dynamic, and how do you carry those beliefs out into the public world? And what you're starting to realize is the people you meet outside of your house is not the people inside of your house. So in one shape or form, like, yes, these people will reflect and project out what's happening internally within you. But in another way, it's like it's a brand new time to start giving that emotional nourishment that you craved from your family to yourself and to other people that you meet outside of your house, outside of your home, and especially throughout your travels. And so when I say travels, you can say travel abroad, but I'm getting a lot of your mental travels. I'm getting a lot of your astro and esoteric travels, even within the dream space itself, and start meeting people on that 2D realm, on that dreamscape, and give them the nourishment. Pisces is an energy that can actually help and support people that are nowhere near the physical reality, and is not a linear fashion of how you're going to be assisting other people, but ultimately you're going to put them in a better framework of mind. So if you were one of the ones manipulated into falling into a certain falling into your culture in a way that actually it has become so stifling, so controlling, where your joy doesn't really exist, and more importantly, like, the reason you stay in that house is not for the reasons that you actually always believed it was. These things are coming through a brand new shakeup and shift for you over the next 6 months. And the major thing is give what you did not receive. And if you don't have that thing that you didn't receive, whether it's money, whether it's love, create that. Go get it. And then when you get it, when you receive it, give it back out tenfold. And this is a time frame for you to be the exaltation of Jupiter, okay, within yourself, and give an overflow. And that will essentially start to help you wash away the karmas, because 10th house is a very karmic house, okay? And it'll help you wash away the karmas. It'll help you achieve inner peace. It'll help you walk a path alone and realize that you've actually always been equipped. And I'm not saying walk alone from the Aries perspective. I'm saying walk alone from the Sagittarian as well as the Piscean perspective. Meaning, when you're walking alone, you're discovering a completely new philosophy as well as generosity and way to care, reshaping your entire moral compass. And it's going to happen when you get involved with cultures that are not a part of your own. So if you're from Ireland, step and start talking with people from Eurasia, right? Like from India. Look at text, look at books, read the Quran, read a different religious text than your own, okay? Look at a different form of spirituality than what you're used to. If numerology was your main thing, start getting into the 72 angels in the Kabbalah and just learn from them, even if it's just bits and pieces. And you're going to find yourself taking enough time away from the enmeshment that you could start to see a little more clearly. You'll start to realize how to utilize your imagination in a more productive manner. And that's what I have for you.
Powerful.
Lit. Any feedback, any thoughts? Talk about it.
Oh, I'm happy because my brother's a Cancer and he'll finally start thinking different.
Ooh, I don't even think I knew you had a brother.
Oh, really?
No. When I think of your brother, I actually think about the guy that's not your business partner anymore to this day. At least that I know of.
Oh, yeah. No, I have like a blood brother.
Yeah, like for some reason, like that was always my thought process.
I don't know. My brother's like the exact opposite of me in like every way.
I believe it.
Is it just the one sibling you have, Joe?
Yeah, I only have one younger brother.
Okay, here we go. We got fire?
Leo?
Hannah. Leo. Everybody hit the thumbs up and the likes button. If you enjoyed Joe so far, check out his fixed star reading. I know that I've benefited from learning more about him from the fixed stars when it comes to business and how my particular Uranus and the fixed stars around my Uranus planet works out into my business. I'm telling you, I love his approach with the fixed stars. It's unique, it's different. Okay, definitely take a moment to check it out, because if you think you know from the outside, I'm telling you, you don't. And I'm saying that myself, like I didn't. And what I've noticed is that it gave me different perspective and lens to different things that I did know, and I was able to put them together, and I started having more confidence in distributing my business practices out with that extra lens. And other than that, if you're looking for a community, all right, go ahead and check in with Hannah on her Patreon. Learn more of what she's doing there. Get access to more of her private videos, her private thoughts in her mind, because obviously everybody knows she has a beautiful mind. So take the moment to look and check that out. Otherwise, if you like written forecasts, blogging has been my thing. I love to write. I like to write. I've been writing out forecasts. There's a 67% off discount only for next week from April 8th to April 14th. Anybody that books within that time frame, you'll get 67% off. All rates are $97. It has never been that, ever. So take advantage. All right, here we go. Hannah, everybody hit the thumbs up. We got Leo. Okay.
Leo. All right, so you're up. So your chart ruler then is the sun. And with the sun then being in Aries, of course, with this being a solar eclipse, the sun is exalted in Aries. So Aries season for you is typically a very lively time. And the thing about this, however, is Chiron is a part of this eclipse. So with this 9th house activation, I think, Leo, you're being called to truly step outside of your comfort zone, to expand your horizons, to go on this whole new discovery path, this self-development path, which, Leo, you thrive on this. You love to explore, travel, you love to venture off. I think that this could look like an actual, because Pernell a moment ago was saying about the travels, but for you, I think it is physically traveling for many Leos, whether that be around the time of the eclipse or a trip that you're planning. But that trip, I feel, for you is going to be kind of scary. Self-doubts could come up for you, but this is also about you taking action and taking that leap. Though another possibility for you, Leo, is that this is so much about teaching, sharing, publishing, putting yourself out there, and having that bravery, that courage to try something new. You know, Aries innovates. Aries is this enterprising, highly enterprising and ambitious sign. So to have all of this Aries energy in your 9th house, where it is about really like expanding yourself and showing up, this is a time period for you to be bold and brave to make those changes. However, on a more like negative lens for you, Leo, be cautious of legal concerns, right? There could be some legal battles coming up, travel worries that can be like really anxiety driven. Messy trials. Be cautious as well of your code of ethics, your morality. Don't sell yourself short either. I'm going to say that, you know, and not that, Leo, it's you, right? It's so much about you knowing your worth. I get it. But it could be that, you know, there's some situations that arise that can be really very heavily triggering, and you're sort of left questioning or feeling a bit bamboozled, especially with Mars being in the 9th house for you, or sorry, the 8th house, my apologies, with it being in the 8th house, you know. So what I'm going to say with this one is there could be situations where you walk into them and your hopes are high, right? Your visions, your dreams about it, they're high, your expectations. And if there is any disillusionment, disappointing situations that arise, just take it. Just take it as it comes, Leo. You know, I just get the sense that there's going to be something really emotionally like overwhelming for you that could happen, but perhaps a lot of that is more of your own psychological distress. So with that Pisces energy in the 8th, I just feel as if it is asking you to practice and recognize that compassion and that kindness, to hold space for that part of you as well around this time period.
Talk about it. Yeah, honestly, I know some Leos and I'm like, she's on point. Bamboozled. I gotta get the joke coming. Bamboozled.
That's one of my favorite words. But yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying about Leos. Like, I feel like what a lot of people neglect is the fact that they're exalted in Neptune, and Neptune is right now at home. So it's like, I personally seen a lot of Leos and Leo ascendants just like almost just diving into their own delusion and kind of like ignoring what they have going on, you know, because like, it's like Pisces in the 8th house for Leo. So it's just like they have a huge opportunity to just like dive in and ignore like their access to spirituality and like create their own delusion and just completely hide it.
Facts. I love applying Neptune to Leo energy. I love it. Like when I understood Neptune, Leo, it was like Leos made sense. They made so much sense. Like they made so especially because like I look at the Sun and Neptune as two different types of portals. They're portals.
Right.
And so when I realized that, I was like, this is how Leo can channel so tremendously when they choose to, right? Like their channel was like next level godly because of the sun, and it's literally like godly, like right, sun god Ra. Every culture, the sun has been like God, and then Neptune, its own Neptunian, you know, Poseidon form of the underworld, the god of like the subconscious. So it's like it's not that hard for Leos to get lost in that.
I always looked at Neptune like it was like a grandma that had a hard life and smoked a lot of cigarettes because she like always gives you the truth. You know what I'm saying?
You know what you made me think about? The black lady from Matrix.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what I think of Neptune.
She's just a blind woman, deaf, can't, you know. Yeah.
But she's for some obscure reason.
Facts. I hear it. All right, I think Hannah, you're in a double.
Okay.
Number 2. Yeah. Here we go. Hit the thumbs up on the likes button, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so Virgo. Oh, Virgo, right. just to say, I have a Virgo rising, and what I'm about to say is it's said from a place of love. It's said from love. Okay, so Virgo, this eclipse is happening in your 8th house. Many of you Virgos are really coming to terms with who can you trust? Who is on your team? Who's on your side? Who do you get into these petty power struggles with? Who are the people in your life where it's too hard? It's like, why do you have to try so hard? Why are you pushing yourself so much to try to make something work or to fit into a certain mold? I think a lot of you Virgos, you're coming to terms with these deep wounds within yourself that you're having to face right now. And it's painful and it's heavy and it's difficult. But oh my goodness, Virgo, you are incredible at facing that. I love this about you, Virgo. You have this bravery about you to face your inner demons. You're the ones who are out there doing the inner work, right? Like you're the ones going for therapy, doing the healing, taking those classes, furthering yourselves. And I think a lot of this as well is to do with any feelings of shame, any feelings of guilt, anything that's hard to let go of. But yeah, I think this is a highly vulnerable time for you, Virgo. And I think too, loss is a big part of this. Grief is a huge part of this. And this can look like you dealing with the loss of a loved one. I'm not suggesting, Virgo, by the way, that someone you love is going to die on the eclipse. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I think there's a lot coming up here to do with loss. So a family member, this could be a recent thing, this could be an old thing, but Mercury retrograde, Mercury's your chart ruler, Virgo. So there is a revisiting of sorts. And also with loss, this doesn't just have to be about a person in your life. This could be an old identity. This could be an old habit, an old cycle that just, Virgo, it's not serving you anymore. And it's time to step up in this way. Mars then is the dispositor of all of this Aries energy in your 8th house, and it's in the 7th, and it's really saying, hey, do you know what, there's some serious boundaries that are to be made, because 2 days after this eclipse, Virgo, there's going to be a new synodic cycle of Saturn and Mars with the conjunction on the 10th of April, and a lot of that is to do with your personal space. It is to do with your boundaries, healthy ways of setting boundaries. So honestly, Virgo, I think this is going to be incredible, incredible for you. You're just coming to terms with a lot of the spiritual methods and healing methods that can serve you for the long haul. Yeah. That one came from the heart, so don't judge me.
No, I hear it. To be honest, I know multiple Virgos, so I want to give a moment of silence for you who actually has had somebody die, like within the last month to 3 months. Like here in Mexico, we got Hannah as well, so give some flowers, some love to her. You know, I know a lot has actually been dealing with physical death, and a lot. My sister's a Virgo as well. I've been noticing the death that she's been going through metaphysically with my father, her father, as well as family. She's doing a deeper work, like you're saying. She's starting to look a little more closely and like, yo, family, there's some jacked up stuff happening, and she's having a death with that. So shout out to all the Virgos going through something tremendous. We got a Virgo right here, okay? Death of the identity. Shout out to Sasha, right? So this is sincere. You got eclipse happening on the 8th, and so some ways, shape, or form, you're becoming a brand new person. You are in a transformation process. So whatever you need on any day it is, reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody. A lot of times you're not going to know who you can reach out to, who you can trust until you can trust them, right? Trust is built. Trust, it can't just be given because you desire it. It's built. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes intimacy to share intimate thoughts, to share intimate fears, to share things that you think are stupid, but they're not. So it takes a lot to actually start trusting somebody, to understand that all those steps are a part of trust. And it doesn't come easily. It's the reason why relationships don't last until they do. So thank you, Hannah, for that. I feel like life was like, let her get that out the chest. So I want to have you actually all like, we're at the half point, so I want to do a little exercise to help us get energy out of the body. Because again, we're in eclipse season. So I want you to actually literally hit your chest like this. This is one of your meridian points. Now dig in with your fingers. Kind of move across this collarbone from the left to the right, back to the center.
I need that.
Now, when you're doing it, do that deep sigh again. Coming to the cheekbones. Getting energy out of our face. Aries is the head. This is an Aries eclipse. The solar and the moon. Coming to the top of the lip. So every year in the head, there's different meridian points. Bottom underneath the chin that can release energy. Freedom tapping. Emotional energy. Back to the cheeks. I'm moving up to the temples. And now what I like to do with the temples, I'll take a pause. And I go like I'm pedaling a bike. One wheel's up, one wheel's down. And now I want you to make the circle smaller and start focusing on your slow, quiet, long, drawn-in breath as the circles get gradually wider and wider and wider. Now I move back. I start wide, go in reverse. And I get gradually smaller and smaller and smaller. Beautiful. And now I want to have you just take a good chunk of your hair with your hands. Just grab your hair really, really tight. Good, from the roots. And now when you take an inhale, soft, slow, quiet, I want you to pull up on your hair on the exhale. Now grab a new patch of hair, different spot. Take an inhale. And exhale, pull up. Two more different spots. Soft, slow, quiet. And last one. And take all 10 of your fingers and just massage very deeply into your head. Remember, Aries is a baby and Aries requires nurturing. The best way you can nurture yourself is to give yourself a head massage. You're not going to always have somebody to give you a head massage. But you know what you can do? You can massage your own scalp. This is what it means in the moment to respect ourselves, to love ourselves, to nurture ourselves, to get rid of and excrete all the fears, to the point where we address those fears with courage. As I deeply massage my scalp, I notice the intense relaxation coming over my entire body. And now we take our hands and just shake out the energy. I want you to envision lightning bolts and let you come out of the fingertips. These are all the nerves. This is all the worry. This is all the anxiety. It's out of the head. It's out of the mind. It's out of your face. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank y'all for trying that out. I'm telling you, these little things, they're magical. They're magical. They can get you right. Okay. How you two feeling?
Feeling awesome.
Fresh.
Awesome.
Ready.
Fresh. I think we got a Libra. We got a Joe coming. Everybody hit the thumbs up on the likes button. All right. We got that new energy rolling through us. We got the shadow of Aries. So it's a heavy burden on you. All right, Joe, let's give it.
So Libra, the word of the day is reciprocity, but it's not how you think, because Libra's understanding that they finally have to receive energy back without asking to create balance, right? That's what they've been going through over the past 6 to 9 months in terms of going from aggressively being like, no, I've done plenty for you. If you're not going to do it, that's just how it's going to be. I'm just going to remove myself and not do it anymore, you know? Getting a little snappy, especially with that, like, you know, Uranus going direct energy and moving through all that. I believe it was the Aquarius new moon that started to kick in. So what Libra is kind of going through right now is they're establishing the fact and they're establishing their new status in relationships and the amount of work that they're willing to give in, right? So with Libras, it's kind of weird because in some weird ways, like, they will be seen as the problem and the one that's holding people back right now, whether they like it or not. They're just going to have that energy on them. So what Libra kind of has to do right now with settling into that new level of reciprocity that they, desire, deserve, and wish to cultivate is during this eclipse, they need to kind of just do nothing in a way. Because during eclipse season, it's all about understanding the chaos, the natural state of the universe, the natural state of everything moving around, and understanding that entropy and chaos is the natural route to balance and the natural balance of the universe in a way. So right now, what Libra has to do is they need to follow their intuition in terms of what they're scheduling, what they're doing on a routine basis, and what they want to do, right? They're understanding that they can't create balance for everybody. They need to see that the universe and where the moon is pushing them in a way is creating its own identity, its own ego for the relationships that it wishes to create. And the only way to see that is to sit back and do nothing. Because you need to understand that you'll see all the individual relationships, all the individual aspects of justice and balance that are within every single relationship that you're observing, kind of dibbling and dabbling into that Aquarius energy just a tad, to truly see how everything can create balance on its own without you acting. So what you need to do with this is you need to take that time to be the observer, the player, as well as the conscious body of everything going on around you, and recognize that if you don't want to impart balance on something, you don't have to. The universe will take care of it on its own. The only time you do need to act is when you see a relationship that you want to build that will make you the person that you want to be. That's it. That's all. Understand that reciprocity is a natural law that's already part of the universe.
Yeah. How do you think they're going to do with that? You think Libras are going to actually work well with that? You think they don't really have a choice?
No, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They just got, that's just how it's going to be, you know?
Eclipse.
If they do something, it'll just like, the same thing's going to happen. They'll just, run out of energy and they'll tire themselves out.
Beautiful. Hannah, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think that karma's just come into my mind. It's just that word to do with Libra. It's karma. Yeah. And it's not necessarily good or bad. It's just action. Yeah. But then even to be not in action is within itself a type of action. To be passive is also action within itself, isn't it?
It is.
That's all I consider.
Yeah. Like doing nothing, non-action is action. Yeah. Like if you choose to do nothing, that's an action within itself. Facts. Yes. Who we got right here coming?
Tell me about myself and yourself.
Oh, it's a water time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh crap. Yo, life has a sick way of always giving me the Scorpio one. I swear, like it just be happening. All right, it's already lost. Let me pull it up.
You can't ignore that side of yourself.
Man, sometimes I'd be like, Scorpio.
Come on, man.
Most times I love it. I won't lie. And then there are other times I'm like, why did I incarnate to do this again? Like, all right. But most times, honestly, I love it. Here we go. Okay, Scorpio, eclipse. Where are you at? 6th house. Ruler, the moon, 9th house. Okay, I learned a couple things about that. And then Mars transiting your 5th. Ooh, and Pisces. Okay. Dang.
Exactly.
Stomach drop. Ooh, and then a soda pop. So, okay, new moon, 6 months out from now till then, and longer because it is an eclipse, right? Happening in Aries. This is about cleaning up your thoughts. That's one of the first things that I have. Literally clean up your thoughts, and I'm thinking like in the way of a karmic flame, a karmic fire, like literally transmuting through the power of fire itself. So I know for myself, Hannah asks, like, what do you do for your birthday? Like, I just went to do a Temazcal, for example. And I'm a Scorpio rising as a real life example. And 6th house is about taking care of yourself, taking care of your body. And so, especially from taking care of the spiritual wellness of that body from the physical world, especially because the ruler of Aries, Mars, is in Pisces. Okay, happening in this 5th house, which I look at as one of the houses of channeling the divine, channeling God, channeling what God believes is best for you and your physical body. And so like just take Mescals for example, it's like one of the big things for me was to go alone. This is my third one I've ever done in my life. And you go inside of an igloo, where inside the igloo there's a fire that they light with hot rocks, and they throw water on the rocks and it creates steam. They throw more water, and there's 4 gates, or considered portals, and there's a 5th portal, and the 5th portal is this warrior portal where they always let you know, like, if you want to stay for 5, you can, but otherwise leave at 4. And so the 5th portal gets really, really hot, where like your skin actually starts to burn to the point where, logically speaking, so this kind of 6th house again, logically speaking, you're burning, you should get up out of there. Now, it also brings you closer to your spiritual wellness, your spiritual being, knowing this is the moment where I found myself in this moment rocking back and forth, and I started humming like a mother to her child who just cut themselves at the park. And I just had to leave my body. And that was it. And I felt my arms burning to the point where if you touch your arms, if you touch any part of your body that's burning, it burns more. And so you learn not to touch it, right? And the thing for me was, I've done this with a group of random people the first time, some people that I was traveling with. Second time I did it with my clients at a retreat here that we ran in November. And then this time I did it and I went by myself. And so that is what I find is happening, Scorpio. It's about, in order for us to merge and become more powerful for another person, we have to be willing to merge with the deeper parts of ourselves, and to do that in a way that requires a tremendous amount of self-discipline and self-sufficiency. And that's happening because of Aries and Scorpio. Because when I look at Scorpio, one of the biggest things that we fall to is the judgment of others. As much as we would love to believe we don't care about it, we do care about how other people judge us. We do care about how our karmic journey plays out, okay? And how we serve and how we heal and how we give support. And we want to give that, and we do want to receive an equal exchange in return. But we're not always willing to make sure that we cut and kill away the things that are not in equal exchange. And that part is happening because of that fixed nature. Now, the beautiful thing is, what this Aries transit for you is the 6th house is a mutable house. So this is when we're able to start a dissolution process from the fixed energy, or from the center where we stay stuck in. That starts it in the 6th house. Now, Aries, any cardinal energy, is when you start pushing away from the center. So when you're dissolution of Mars and Pisces, okay, 6th house, which the moon is ruling for you right now, this is the kind of energy where your physical body right now is the true outlet to you becoming and stepping more into your divine knowing, being, and beliefs, in connection with literally God. But in order for you to do that, connect with God, you have to actually find a way to do it through the physical world. And so if I'm a Scorpio rising, for example, I've just been noticing one thing that I've been doing to help maintenance my mind and the negative thoughts, the traumatic thoughts, the thoughts of death, is I've had to stop listening to so much rap. A long time now. I don't listen to much hip hop, especially the new kids. Like, maybe the old stuff, I still love it. But I realized, like, I used to do this when I first woke up in the morning, and that was my motivation to get up out of bed. It was my motivation to make money. And I had to realize that a lot of this is happening, investments, Scorpio, money, growing power. It was happening from a mindset of scarcity. And so for you, when I look at Aries, Aries is a sign that can easily forgive as a 0 to 2-year-old baby. And so you're able to forgive those negative thoughts that you've had in your mind about scarcity, about debt, about what you lost, when you lost it, how you lost it. And for me, like, this is a lot of, like, I was really stuck for a long time of how I lost some of my best friends, how I lost some of my best lovers, how I lost certain romantic relationships. And I look at it and it's like, yo, this is next level unnecessarily traumatic. But when I look at this full circle, it's about understanding that, again, the sun is one of our karmic punishment placements. And so 6th house is the opposite of 12, meaning I have to, in this physical world, in this process, deal with different timelines and karmas from alternate realities where I may have cut, cheated, stolen, lied, and all the things that bring me a sense of discomfort and a tremendously, whatever that means, which is a part of it, right? Like, trying not to identify it, but realizing that your instinct knows and feels that this is not good for my nervous system. This is not good for my physical body. And I find that what's happening is, with the ruler of the 9th house is that house where it goes through a tremendous amount of trials and tribulations. So those trials and tribulations are at its depth in the 8th house or in Scorpio. But in the 9th house is when you actually are going through more difficulties, because Jupiter doesn't teach you anything without tremendous challenge. And so Jupiter is giving you the optimism in a way where it's like, can you now stay optimistic in these trials and tribulations? That's what makes it harder than being in the 8th house or being in Scorpio itself. Because now those trials and tribulations are still present. But can you do it while still having a smile on your face? Being the warrior on a battlefield who has lost all their limbs and decided that you're still crawling upwards. That's 9th house. That's Sagittarius. To do it with a smile on your face and realize that my story will inspire another person. The way in which I've been able to put myself in this cart flame will ultimately make others stronger through the inspiration of this fearless act within itself. And this is where you're going to come into a new form of total belief in self-sufficiency and being more self-sustaining. An example for that for me was going to that Tesla Scout by myself. And I won't lie, leading up to it, I was scared. The whole days I had it. And this Scorpio is about telling the people you care about and the people you know care for you that you're afraid and what you're afraid of. So it was like me talking to Eileen and telling her, like, I'm afraid to go. But also did not, and then also realizing that I started wanting to reach out to people, to bring people with me that weren't ready to go on this particular journey with me. And I knew that somewhere deep in my core, but I still wanted to kind of find myself inviting them. And I had to realize, no, Pernell, this is a journey you must walk alone. And that's where I see that Mars and Pisces in the 5th house, working at the root of my belief, at the core level of where did I either lack self-discipline to go on these journeys that are tough in nature, but tremendously rewarding. Because even after the fact, if I told you the rest of the story, it was just freaking bananas. Like I found myself just lost, let's just say, in the parts of town that you don't want to be lost. And the way it happened was 9th house adventure type energy, where I literally pissed my pants at one point while I was walking home, trying to get on a city bike. I was that deep in the middle of, let's just say, the jungle. And I knew all my heightened senses were like, you are in danger until you get at least towards downtown. You are way too deep to be in Mexico at this particular, you're just too far out. And life made me go through that to face fears, to dig down into the root, and to also start relying back on truth, that I'm a warrior, that there's no situation that I cannot get through, and that I must get through this as a shaman myself, because I can't be leading people through their traumatic and scary endeavors if I'm not going through my own. And so this is what this was about, and that's what I have for you. The new moon is showing you how courageous you are, showing you your instinct, showing you how you have control of your mind and your nervous system. And I was able to calm my nervous system at that point. And at that point, I remember traveling to the city, and I was thinking, okay, Pernell, here's what you know. And I had to start really thinking about the attributes and the times that I've been through and realize this is not worse than the time you were surrounded and crowded by a tribe willing and ready to whoop your ass, cut glass and all. This is not worse than that. And you survived. You do martial arts for a reason. Calm yourself. Calm yourself. Calm yourself. And when I did that, I was able to turn and flip the switch in the mind and realize that no matter what, I'm getting home tonight. And so this is just a live example in with the actual eclipse showing that your courage, Scorpio, has been fortified in the flames of karma itself. And this is what makes you so powerful. And so merge with other people with that same level of power, or walk alone if they're not. And that's it.
That makes me feel so proud of my my partner who has a Scorpio rising. Just listening to what you said, and I just kind of think about the journey that he's been on. Yeah, I'm just so proud of him.
Lit. Super lit. I'm not even going to ask you about it. I just feel it. I feel it. I feel it. Tell him I said kudos.
And what did you think, Joe? You have a Scorpio as well. So what did you think?
I like it. It just makes me think of all the sketchy, death-defying times I've dabbled in, and being like, oh yeah, well, let's not do that again.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't need more reminders of courage. I really don't at this point.
I get it. I totally get it, and it happens anyways.
You know? Yeah, you're just like, dude. I mean, you know the fucking story I told last time. I was like, I don't need to do that again.
I totally get it. It still be happening. Like that's just our path, yo. That's just our path.
How it's gonna be. I don't even feel it. It's almost like you're playing a video game and you just like don't feel the fear anymore. You're just like, well, this is another way to pass the time.
Yeah.
At this point, you're just like, oh man.
I'll tell you what. I actually can't even agree with that because I tell you, I felt the fear that night. Like to the point, like I said, I had a moment where I pissed my pants a little bit. I was afraid.
I'm sure.
I literally, like, I was like, oh shit, did I just leak a little bit? Like, and I was like, yup, get home. I was like, yup, get home. Now, mind you, I had no service. I had no phone service. It's midnight plus. Everything's closed. I thought I was gonna be able to take the train, which I would have been safe on the train. I was like, take the train, I'm good. I couldn't take the train. I was at the last line of the train. And everybody knows what happens at the last stop of the train. Weird things happen once the train stops. Like when you're at the last line of the train, everything before that last line, it gets weird. Yeah. It's very weird. So I think y'all can put the rest of the story together. It gets very awkward. Very, very awkward. I was like, I'm walking by people. I'm like, nope, not looking at you. There's beautiful women walking by. I was like, you're not beautiful tonight. Like literally, like I'm telling you, like, I remember seeing somebody at the corner of my eye and I was like, I have a feeling that she's beautiful and I'm not even looking in that direction. Like, I don't want no problems. I don't want nothing. I'm streamlining my ass home. Get me home. I want to go home. Like, it was just that simple. I got home. I had to like eat food to comfort myself. Like, I was just like, you know, like I know I wasn't hungry. But the cancer, my Mars cancer was like, all right, let's just eat some food. Let's eat some grounding food. Because I'm not trying to go to bed like this. Like, nope. So yeah. Here we go. We got fire. Sagittarius.
Fire. Okay.
I'm gonna get some water. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, so Sagittarius, yes. So for you, Sagittarius, this eclipse is happening in your 5th house. All right. So when I think of this through a more positive way, okay, and the title says good and ugly. Okay, so the good, this could be a lot of inner child wounds coming up for you, and you have this amazing opportunity to actually set new intentions to do with your inner child. And there's a lot of self-reflection on your part as well, Sagittarius. And this is something that's been unraveling and has been unfolding since 2018 for you. So thinking about the types of things that you love, that you enjoy, right? Play, fun, like just all those childlike things, and that the innocence associated with being childlike. Revisiting things, you know, from your childhood, creative endeavors, hobbies, right? Because Mercury's retrograde, so there could be a revisiting of sorts there. Though the 5th house also looks at children, and what I would even say with this is, well, fun and play too, of course, and joy. So what I would say on a more negative way is to be cautious of, if you have any children, Sagittarius, looking at your children as if they're extensions of yourself, and kind of giving them space to be their own independent people, you know, because you can maybe fall into this sort of trap of sort of projecting your own childhood onto them, if you will. And also be cautious of running into problems where, you know, there's no enjoyment in things. It's like the fun is being sucked out of things. You could even possibly be feeling this way because the thing is that Mars, the disposer of all of the Aries, that's in your 4th house. So since 2011, with Neptune transiting your 4th house, Sagittarius, all of the, I don't mean to go there, I don't, and I know, Sagittarius, you tend to be the types of people who are more positive. You prefer to look on the brighter side of things. There's always a spiritual lesson, a philosophical lesson that you can learn from whatever experience you have, this sort of spiritual twist. But there does seem to be something here about all of the emotional stuff, the projections, the addiction, manipulation, that emotional, Pernell was saying earlier about the emotional sort of enmeshment, and I kind of put here emotional incest, and I don't mean to be extreme with that word. What I'm trying to highlight is just that entanglement, right, with certain family members, and there's a lot that you're processing, I think. So I think at the same time, the inner child stuff that I just mentioned, I think it has something to also communicate about family, home, the past, your upbringing, how you were conditioned, what you were conditioned to believe. There could have been disillusionment, there could have been trickery, smokes and mirrors, Sagittarius, that could have happened within the home, lies, deceit. My goodness, Sagittarians are going through it in terms of the amount of things that have just been coming up. The truth is being revealed within their lives. And a lot of it is just like one after the other, one after the other. So hold tight, because I think there's more. There's more coming up. But if anything, to look at it through a more positive lens, as you do prefer to do, you are the types of people who are able to take whatever new knowledge and insight you gain and that is shared, and you turn it into wisdom. You turn it into this remarkable philosophical truth that you can share with the world. So that will be such a powerful tool for you to sort of be that guide, be that healer, I suppose, for the collective.
Facts. That's kind of what I was feeling about that ninth house. Like, that's how Sag do, man. They need those trials. They need them. Like, you can't be a guru, you can't be a master, you can't be a teacher to such a degree if you don't have those trials. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. That's when you get the Jay Shetty's.
Ooh. There is always calm weather to shoot your arrow through.
Anybody know about the cat? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Say, but again, I don't want to keep telling that because I just don't know enough. I saw very little news. I really don't know anything. But Joe, you got anything about the Sag that you want to contribute?
Not really. I mean, I just feel like they're gonna get caught up into like kind of like smoothing things over and sharing perspectives with everybody. Like they're going to be like filling in for where Libra would want to fill in terms of be like, no, they're really saying this. They don't see the triggers that you're wearing on your sleeve, like that crap.
Okay, cool. So everybody hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Remember, check out Joe for a fixed star reading, Hannah on her Patreon. Flash sale for me coming up starting April 8th. And then we'll move into who we got. Kat, that's me, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, Kat. I feel the first thing I feel like I must announce for you is how potent this eclipse is, considering Pluto in Capricorn went through one of its last two stints. Okay, and I find that really is tremendous. Even considering 1 degree Pluto in Aquarius. Capricorn, late degrees, y'all having less pressure, but it's still there and it's coming back for one last round. And I don't know when that's going to happen to any of y'all.
It's last round. Isn't it like summer, September?
1st of September to the 19th of November.
This year.
Yeah.
AKA when the 6 months later of this eclipse today in Aries starts to manifest. Perhaps. So again, I didn't know why up front, but I know now, Kat, this is a very important time for you to have a new beginning, a new emotional beginning, a new beginning with how you take care of yourself, how you retreat back into your own shell, away from the public, away from your karmic duties, away from the service that you hear and you love to give out to the world. Capricorn, you need more rest. You've been told this over and over, but it's hitting the point where your instincts are actually beginning to suffer by your lack of rest. This is the kind of thing where you're driving on a road trip and you become weary and you need to pull over because you're going to crash. If you don't, this is the kind of energy where this eclipse is going to force you. You're going to feel a lot more tired. You're going to see more rings around the eyes. You're going to feel like, why did I sleep 8 hours 9 hours, 10 hours, but I still keep waking up tired. And the thing is, if you're using what's considered your Jing, the life force energy, that's not chi. You don't get your Jing back. You only have so much of it in your body. When you use that level of energy, it doesn't recover. When you use the sun, when you use water, when you use nature and their energy, that's infinite. And so fourth house is part of a retreat into exactly those things. Retreat into the sun, retreat into the nature, retreat with your animals, retreat with animals out in the nature in the wilderness. All right. And what that's going to do is going to help you better discern the projections that are being casted upon you because you're at the top. And that's the reality. Like Capricorn, it's important to understand that you are at the top, but everybody envies the top. And if not everybody, plenty of people do. Meaning you have a tremendous amount of enemies. And many people don't speak about enemies with you, but understand that the moon ruling right now, the 7th house for you, okay, this is the open enemies, right? So I like to think of this as the show Suits. When you have somebody trying to climb the career ladder as lawyers, they're walking over people. Ambition can be very powerful and can be powerfully dangerous as well. Where one, you're going to need to pay karma back on who did you walk over to get where you were. That's going to happen. Now, outside of that, even if you didn't walk over anybody and you actually did it how Capricorn would prefer to do it with integrity, right? And you did it the right way, you're still going to have people coming for your neck. And Aries in the eclipse, this is the fighter warrior energy. Now, the difference is Mars is in Pisces, transiting the 3rd house, meaning you're going to have to get to the root solution of how your own thoughts manifest the enemies that you have. Excuse me, that's for you, Kat. How do your own thoughts manifest the enemies that you actually have? How did you play a critical role where now you're having to fight spiritual battles on the subconscious layers, getting to the root of your role within society, your role in your immediate environment, how you influence those people, how you manipulate those people in tremendously clever ways that are actually unseen. This is something that is a very tough battle. But again, you're not going to get it until you step away from the privacy, into your own privacy, away from the immediate environment itself. To start taking a very clean look at your family conditionings and the patterns that they've instilled into you and how you instill those back and speak X, Y, and Z, integrity or not, outside into the public world through your media outlets in a way where you are trying to manipulate an outcome. But if you're losing material assets in a way that is uncomfortable, take the time to realize that this is a healthy thing. This is a good thing. Because anything that you have earned that was outside of integrity, consciously or unconsciously, right now, the eclipse doesn't care. Okay, the eclipse doesn't care about whether it was conscious or unconscious. It doesn't care. It's just here to rectify things, give you a new start, a new beginning, and give yourself a chance to forgive. Because like I said again, Aries, personal opinion, is the most forgiving sign. The same way you always hear that they get hot really, really fast and angry, and they calm down and they want to love you the next second like a baby, that's how quickly they forgive as well. Meaning, forgive yourself like that. It may not need to be quickly that you forgive yourself, but take the time to focus on things like the Ho'oponopono. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And then find yourself repeating that. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And then do it again in the mirror. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And then take one more step of courage and look yourself in the eyes through the mirror and see into your own soul. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And then do that same thing again while holding your heart and looking at yourself in the eyes. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. And notice that my tone changed each time. And Cap, it's going to take you that much. It's going to take a method to the madness of your healing in these next steps. You're not going to just heal because you're going to somebody to help you out. You're going to get a reading from an astrologer. You're going to get a therapy session. You're going to do a Temazcal and spiritual cleansing. That's not going to be enough because those are one-off events and it's reliant on that person across from you to do the healing for you. Until you take the time to do that healing methodically, systematically, with some sort of a routine for yourself, you're not going to get deep enough to actually forgive conscious or unconscious habits. Get to the root of your thoughts in this manner. And I promise you're going to be a better person. And understand that it's going to be dumb intense because this eclipse will manifest right when you're going right back. So all those late degree caps, y'all the mother lovers, okay? Y'all getting hit. I'm telling you, I got one of them. My North Node is in that Capricorn. And when that North Node was going over that Pluto cat, it was hard. Like, it was so hard. It was just ridiculous of how much we were forced to mature, me as an Aries, with that Capricorn energy. So this level of maturation is more about emotional fulfillment, okay? Fulfill yourself emotionally at a deep internal root level and not externally on how other people see you, and you're going to be happy.
Ooh. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. Let's take a woosah. I know. I'm sorry, Hannah. I know you got that Capstellium.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah. But I'm saying the thing is, like, I saw this funny meme or a reel, and it had Donald Trump on it, and it said above it about how you're the first person in your family to go for therapy, and he's going, I am the chosen one. Someone had to do it. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
I get it.
Breaking those family cycles. Woohoo. It's so fun.
I totally get it. I feel like I'm going through that. I feel like I'm honestly going through that same thing when it comes to like the spiritual healing. Like first in my family to go through like spiritual healing and like teaching it, going through it myself, teaching it again, going through it again. And like now I find like my sisters are starting to reach out to me on some, yo, how do I protect my son, my nephew? Because I feel like he's being spiritually attacked. How do I protect him on a spiritual plane? And that's like to get a question like that. And then my aunt came and said some of the same thing. And I'm like, wow, like when I started off on this, everybody was cool with, yo, he's crazy. And then left it at that with a period. And then now, 6-7 years later, it's like, yo, how do I protect my son spiritually? How do I protect my home in a spiritual manner? And I'm like, okay. And so this Capricorn is really the beautiful benefit, all right, of you going out there and facing these enemies and whatever the space when it comes to doing the healing work. Eventually, people always come to Capricorn because y'all are the most dependable when it comes to supporting another person. Everybody knows you can depend on Capricorn if they rock with you. If they don't rock with you, that might be a different story, but you get my point.
Yeah.
So we got who's next?
Me.
Aqua.
Oh yeah. So kind of bouncing off that internal healing aspect for Aquarius, like Aquarius is getting knocked down a peg. Like we all know Aquariuses, they've always been popular, they've always been powerful, they've always had a deep understanding of social dynamics, emotional realms, and the flows of emotions, almost as if it's a currency. And they are the quote unquote banks or river banks that guide these emotional flows, right? So with Pluto kind of moving into this first house, the eclipse is essentially showing them from that, deep, dark, the brighter side of that emotional energy of what can become of you if you actually hear yourself, if you communicate, if you come up with a new schedule, if you identify your values. You can move through this time in a phenomenal fashion. You can grow in a beautiful way. You can really move into a space that is healed because Pluto is going to guide you regardless. So do you want to do it nicely? You want to do it the easy way? Or do you want to do it the hard way? That's what the Aries eclipse is asking you. I'm sure the Libra eclipse was a little bit different, positioning people alongside you, positioning people next to you, putting you in positions around people that were actually showing you how to move. But right now, it's time to truly talk about, identify exactly what Pluto's been bringing up in this first dip around Aquarius, or the second dip around Aquarius, and really being able to identify how you can heal, how you can move on, and how you can truly focus in such a way that benefits you. Because right now, Aquarius have been so focused on everybody but themselves. They've been so focused on moving with their intentions around everyone else and almost adapting to them so they can get the personal gain without truly being able to experience it within and manifest beyond the actual basics of what it means to do self-development, which is why everyone in this Aquarius energy is going to be focusing on their own rituals, their own routines, their own internal dialogue, and truly approaching, okay, yes, I see all these tactics. Yes, I understand all these things, but have I ever really thought about what I wanted to do with them? And that's pretty much what the actual eclipse is going to be revealing to Aquarius in a way, so that they can truly see themselves for what may even be the first time for many Aquariuses.
Damn, Hannah, you just back to back.
I need time to process that. Such an Aquarius thing to say.
Yeah, I know.
Emotion.
I
Be
get
human
it.
for once.
I get it. I get it. As an Aries, I had to learn to like practice extreme patience with that, because again, like, you know, Eileen has so much Aquarius, and so it taught me so much to learn like how to process longer, right? Because Aries moon, I'm Aries sun. Processing long is not like, that's not a desire. It's like, why would I want to do that? Right? Like,
I got shit to do.
Processed it already. like I don't need more time than right now. Like I did it in the moment. Like, we're good. And then the Aquarius kind of helped me start realizing like the real benefits of like long-term processing of like, all right, like let me get back to you on that. And be like, yo, are we back yet? Like so okay, here we go. Bam. Oh, wait. Do we have any insight or thoughts on Aquarius?
I already said my piece.
No. I think we're good. I loved it, Joe.
Okay, I think I got water, yeah. So Pisces. Okay, here we go. Here we go, Pisces. What up? Pisces rising? Oh, you a Pisces rising? I didn't even know that. That's cool. Well, we got a Virgo. Man, I'm Virgo with the Pisces rising, man. Virgo sun, Pisces rising. I pray for y'all. I pray for y'all. Okay, here we go. In the Virgo suns, Pisces moons, I pray for y'all too. I pray for y'all too. I met a couple of them. Okay, here we go. Pisces. So the second house, the moon is ruling your fifth. Interesting. And then Mars transiting your first, obviously. Okay. So I feel like this is a doozy. Step one, a lot of this is personal for you, and very little of it is interpersonal, aka involved with others. Now, when I say involved with others, I mean, like, I'm talking about that fifth house rule. So Pisces, this, for Aries, part of this is start to understand like that as much as you as an archetype don't have an ego, you as a human does. This is a little complex to understand sometimes, because there's a part of you that's always in the flow of being egoless actions, very compassionate, very gentle. And then there's the flip side of you, especially because Mars in Pisces is one who easily dissociates from themselves, because you are Mars in the first house, right? And so it's like, this is a madman split. I talked about this yesterday. This is you being split between realities that you've created in this physical realm and dimension, and realities that alternate versions of you've created, especially with the moon ruling that fifth. Like I said, that's a channel. So this channel was part ancestral, but it's more of like your cosmic family, okay? Like, I'm talking alternative life forms that operate through you. And the fact that Mars is in Pisces here right now, you're going to start realizing that your identity is going to change. You're going to literally start changing your voice, especially with now the moon being in the second house. Your voice, you'll hear yourself talking, and then out of nowhere, your voice will just shift tonalities. And it might be something you might not recognize, but maybe the person across from you does. But if you can take the time to start recognizing yourself and start realizing and almost kind of like creating a little system routine of, Well, who's talking in this moment? Is this the courageous warrior version of me? Is this the soft, gentle pacifist? Is this the martyr? Okay. Is this the, and then dot, 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 right? This is a time frame where a lot of this is just you coming to terms with you. Okay. Aries is one of these. For you in this instance, it's pulling on the farmer archetype of Aries. The Mars being part of the farmer who can do long-term growth, sustainable growth. All right. Water is an element that's naturally required for farmers, yeah, to grow something. You need water. And so Aries is very much diluted right now with Mars being in Pisces. It's diluted tremendously, meaning who you were is in a process of renewal. Now, which version of who you were is up for you to actually ground into that over the next 6 months and to become a little more firm in, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z routines. And I highly recommend that some of them are around food, because this is one of the things where you exalted in Venus, food is your number one form of escape that you can bypass. Because you know eventually when you're drinking as a form of that pleasure, it's hard to bypass it eventually. You know when you're smoking a whole bunch of X, Y, and Z's, mushrooms, weed, whatever, it's eventually hard to bypass because it's obvious. What's not so obvious is food. Food is not so obvious because you know what? You have to eat. That's a simple reality. And what you choose to eat is going to be very determinant on how this next identity shapes and comes into existence. Because remember, first house, Mars and Pisces, this is the end of a very karmic cycle, asking you to get to the root of a long-term permanent solution to your identity crisis. I need to say that again. Mars and Pisces is the end. Before we go Mars and Aries, it's the end of the line for you to go through a long-term healing at the root level of your identity crisis before you then step into solidifying it. Okay? Starting from an imagination. Very sensitive at the first steps. First house is babies are very, very sensitive. The difference is you're an adult. So you have that level of sensitivity of a baby right now as an adult. So the easiest and hardest thing to do is to numb that sensitivity, because the world is harsh. The world is cruel. It doesn't cater to sensitivity. Unless you're literally living off the grid, the world does not care about your sensitivities. About your sensitivity to food, about your sensitivity to sex, about your sensitivity to your bills and your debts, about your sensitivities to your own self-worth and confidence. The world doesn't care. Not about you as an individual, but you as a Pisces are so connected to all of that feeling that it's easy that is the moment you start considering that, you become that. And so that's how adaptable you are, better or worse. For better or worse, you absorb any and everything, and easily. So you have to consciously, with that second house, create a habit and a routine on that habit of, I need to at least get 20 minutes of something consciously involved in my life, especially in the morning. Because first house is what you do when you rise. So Mars, what you do, the actions you take. First house, when you rise. Mm-hmm. That is going to be what allows you before you ever leave the house, because you don't leave the house to fourth house. So first house, second house, third house, all that's happening first. First and second, you see on the screen right now. So before you leave the privacy of your home, step one, your routines need to be on, because it's too easy for you to just fuse through them, to just diffuse into thin air, diffuse into the atmosphere, right? Like there's water in the atmosphere right now. And if that water is carrying the emotions of rage and anger, you have the ability to pick that up. So if you're not setting up your first steps, you are going to go through an emotion that's going to take you away before you ever had a chance to decide how you wanted this day to go. So one part of you is like, I love to be in the flow. The problem with water is that water is always in flow. There's never an end point to it being out of flow. So what am I saying? fire, you now need to direct that. Because Mercury is in Aries, where you debilitate. And the ruler of Mercury in Aries is the 3rd and the 6th house, meaning your schedule and your routines. Going through a karmic relapse on how does your identity get confused because you're not setting out something intentionally. Because 3rd house and 6th house are intentional houses. They're not by accident. They're strategic. What you get rid of in the 6th house is strategy. What you take in the 3rd house is strategy. Or mindlessness, which is easy for you, but you got to be intentional because 2nd house, this eclipse is not mindless. Taurus is very much aware of what it values. And it will work a very long time to get those things to come into the physical world. It will wait and not make that purchase to get the right quality. It's like, oh, I can only afford a 10-carat gold necklace right now, but I want a 14-carat. Taurus will wait. So wait long enough so that you can feel the sensitivities in your body and what they're trying to warn you of, for better or worse. That's it.
Woohoo! Now I think we can finally run through the actual basics of what's happening on the eclipse instead of the specifics for everyone.
Right.
Yeah, then we'll call it a day unless people got questions.
For sure. So you got any insight you want to give on that?
Yeah, I mean, you know I do. But so basically what we have going on is we have I wouldn't exactly call it a super stellium. I mean, there are 4 planets and, North Node, few asteroids doing its thing. But more specifically, the eclipse is going on in 19 degrees of Aries. And it is happening, at least for Eastern Standard Time, where it peaks at 2:22 p.m. And actually, I have a lot of friends that are actually going out to see it because the eclipse line is actually right by me. But I'm avoiding it for personal reasons and also obvious reasons.
I've been wondering if I should take the trip because I'm not that far. I can get there.
I mean, like, with it being on our moon sign, I don't know about you. I don't want to be around that, especially if it's conjuncting Chiron. Like, fuck that. I don't want to do that.
You didn't go through your Saturn return yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm at a different praxis point in my life. Like,
You're grown.
Certain things aren't worth skipping. But again, I wouldn't do this at certain points in my life either. So I've been debating. I'm like, I still didn't make but I'm listening.
I mean, like, I'm right around the corner. I'll see most of it. I'm just not going to be in the direct line.
What you got for us? 19 Pisces, 19 Aries.
But yeah, anyways, 19 degrees of Aries is angling the Cetus constellation, which is also part of why I don't want to do it, because specifically it's angling the belly of the Cetus constellation. So it's like, it's kind of like walking into, I forget the thing you said that sounded like mezcal, but wasn't mezcal. But it's kind of like walking straight into that, where you're just walking into the belly of the beast, basically. So you're going to face the exact thing that the monster wanted to eat, right?
Wait, what is Cetus?
Cetus is the sea monster that is the story goes. It is the sea monster that was ravaging the coast of the celestial version of Ethiopia, but it was spelled like the AE way, so it's, I guess, more pronounced like Ashiopia or however you pronounce it. Mm-hmm. But the celestial constellation, where it is the sea monster that was basically the monster that Andromeda was offered up to, right? So it's basically just this kind of like sea monster that is that like bashing through bashful energy that is trying to just bust through everything, take over the aspects of the emotions and just kind of eat up everything around it, right? Mm-hmm. So with that being the case, it's almost like, so if you're in that like fearful, very like, how I explain it is if you're in that like fearful, afraid, negativity, pessimistic state, it's like, what are all those thoughts that monster is eating up, right? Because when you get to the belly of the beast, that's what you're going to see. That's what you're going to experience. That's what you're going to get soaked in, right? So, for example, it's like the climbing gym that I go to is basically full of a bunch of misfits that didn't have their high school experience. And they kind of like, recreate it there, where it's like everybody's talking about everybody, everybody's drama, everybody wants to, date everybody and do this, that, and the third. And long story short, they're all going on a trip closer to Syracuse so they can actually be the eclipse line, right? So with having Venus, Sun, Moon, Chiron conjunction, Mercury retrograde, like that just sounds like a cesspool for all that drama to fester and become abundant, right? So that's part of the reason why I'm avoiding that, because I don't want to deal with that. I want to be by myself and just face what I want to face, right? But in terms of specifics and how it's going to go, if we're going from Venus to the super conjunction to Mercury retrograde, think about Venus's natural ruler, right? Libra, and its exaltation Pisces. That's a perfect opportunity for the eclipse to basically show you who's holding you back, and then also allow them to give you an honest opinion about you. And then also with the Piscean aspect of it, be highly motivated to think that they're saying that about you because they're subconsciously picking up on the insecurities that you're wearing on your sleeve, you know? So it's going to be basically be like, someone's going to be like, oh, I know you've been trying to lose weight, but you're fat. I mean, you know, to give a basic example. And then you're like, how'd you know I've been trying to lose weight? Do they know that I've been holding on to all this emotion onto myself and I'm sweating through my skins right now? And every time I actually go to the bathroom, I have to take a shower. I'm so insecure about all the things that I've held over my body and the toxicities that make me stink. You know, like it's going to be that where they're going to be just saying a blanket statement that seems to poke exactly at the insecurity that you're wearing on your sleeve that you don't think is wearing on your sleeve. You know, like that's like the lower octave of it, obviously.
I don't wear sleeves.
Yeah, man, you're good. You know, you don't gotta worry about nothing.
No, I'm listening.
But yeah, so I mean, like that's pretty much the gist of the eclipse. And then it's like, you know, medium tier. You're gonna have like some constructive criticism going back and forth, maybe a cry, maybe a, you know, a mocktail. Who knows what's going on? And then the higher octave is something along the lines of like constructive growth with all of your buddies that actually take constructive criticism, and they're going to use the eclipse energy to kind of just like, you know, maybe meditate together and launch something new and really go deeply within themselves to identify what's the best way to align their physical variation with their, you know, higher variation and merge that in such a way that the universal energy can flow through you to the exact purpose you incarnate. Call it a day.
I like it.
That's
so. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I heard about the high school trip. Would you recommend going to an eclipse line, this one coming, by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I might. I just didn't want to go with them. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad idea.
Exactly.
I don't ever do. No, that sounds terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. Like, no. No. Hell no.
It just sounds like I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to hear the stories of how it goes wrong.
Yeah, that just sounds terrible. I learned that lesson at 25 when all my friends met up in Miami. No, bad idea. From like college and no.
You had me at Miami.
Yeah, Miami, right? It's like, come on now, like weird things happen. So no, I was also just curious for myself. I was like, should I take this trip? Because last year the eclipse was like on my birthday. I'm having all these eclipses in Aries on my birthday. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
And I went by myself. And I know I remember seeing like stuff outside of me, and everybody was losing their crap. And I was like, by myself, like in the most desolate town with like 100 people. And I was like, I made the best choice ever.
Yeah.
Like, just go dolo. So I was just curious.
Well, I mean, like you're talking about Scorpio ascendants, like, you know, like as long as you're willing to face something like that, like who gives a shit? You'll be all right.
Yeah. No.
You know, like it's like more for the people that don't have that. I guess you could call it like Scorpio training. That I would be like, if you don't want to go through that, you don't want to deal with those potential Plutonian energies, you know, book a spa treatment and call it a day.
Right. Yeah, because I did have some hard nights. But again, I was by myself, and I feel like it was just easy to just, like, I was like, okay, I see this. But I feel like if I was around people, it would have been a lot harder to discern, like, what am I feeling? Are these even my feelings? Right? Like, because that part happens, right? Like, you just absorb. I just can easily absorb people too. Like, so, no, it's really interesting. From a Vedic lens, what I can say that a lot of this eclipse is happening at the same time. And it's about a bosom, literally the cow bosom, right? Where what do you do from a bosom? You get nurture, like literally you get milk, you get food, you get nutrients, and so you change those nutrients from the bosom to things of your affection, objects of your affection, whether that's a person, whether it's an actual thing, right? And you get nurturing from it or you don't. And so the whole thing, to kind of simplify what I just said, it's about if your parents or guardians gave you money and that was their form of nurture, that was their form of love, it's saying give that money to other people. So if you grew up in a wealthy household, give away your wealth. Literally. If they gave you just love, like they didn't have money, but they gave you pure love. They actually gave you emotional love, right? It's saying give that emotional love to the next person who you're intimately connected with. Now, these are obviously on the positive side, right? Now, it's also saying if you didn't get that emotional nourishment and love, you can't give something that you don't have. So it's saying step one, create that emotional nourishment and love for yourself. Go get that somehow or give it to yourself. And then once you do that, pour it back out into the world, specifically to the youth. This is a longer term like thing where give it to the youth, where if you were once young and you didn't get that thing, give that exact thing that you didn't get to someone younger than you and watch them recreate the world the way it quote unquote should be. And that's like the gist. It's all about nourishment. Think of again a baby, right? Aries, 0 to 2 year old baby. It gets nourished, confidence, because his parents were confident or his parents were insecure, right? Like, and then that Aries grows up insecure. It's a 1-2, right? That baby grew up wealthy, the Aries grows up wealthy. Or the parents grew up, you get the point. So it's literally saying nourish your objects of affection and give away what you already have in abundance. And so you have to first take a moment to think, what do I have in abundance? Right? That may be astrology videos, like astrology knowledge. I have an abundance of astrology knowledge. I can give that to the youth. Right? Like literally I can give an astrology, right? And so, or I don't have it, but you kind of get the point now. So you have to first consider what is that innate thing that you have to give. And then literally pour it out into the people that you're intimately connected with, as well as the youth. And then basically it's saying 20 to 30 years from now, the world will grow up with those things at those prenatal eras where they are giving a multitude of what you couldn't give.
I have a couple things to add to that. This is going to sound really silly, but you said the word bosom, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what does bosom mean? And I was thinking, does it mean butt? But it doesn't mean butt, right? It's breast, right? But then have you heard, there's that song goes, everyone needs a bosom for a pillow. Everyone needs, have you heard that song before? No, it's a song. I'm being so Aquarius right now.
Nope.
But yeah, it's this song, right? So it made me kind of think of that. And then it made me think about my childhood and the nostalgia, right? And obviously with Mercury being retrograde during the eclipse as well, I tend to be very nostalgic during Mercury retrogrades. And I think that's a common thing because you kind of, in retrospect, you go back. But that's so on point, I think, in terms of the childlikeness and the innocence to do with Aries around this eclipse. And what came through for me was the body. The body knows, like your body knows. It's so freaking intelligent. Your body sends you signals of, don't go near that person. No. Oh, yes, I want to be around that person. And the thing that I've come to learn about having an Aries moon, right? There's a couple things, is the more I deny that part of me, because Aries is so instinctive. Aries, like danger, up ahead, danger. Aries is able to go, right? But the more I deny those hits, right? Up ahead, the louder the voices get. They get so aggressive and so loud and so heavy. And then I have to learn, hold on a second, I'm not aligning with what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm disregarding myself. I'm going against every fiber of my being right now. What am I doing? So then there's that part of me that goes, right, it's time to redirect my path. And I think this solar eclipse is so much about that because Chiron is here, and Chiron is the mentor, right? Chiron was that sage, the sage who was able to heal in this way, and teach others, like to teach others from his own healing journey. He couldn't fully properly heal himself, though. That's the thing as well. And Chiron was shunned, he was rejected, he was ridiculed, abandoned. And so it's this part of us, that childlikeness in us, that we've abandoned and we've overlooked. And it's being able to look at that and to be soft and gentle toward it with Mars and Pisces as well. There's a lot of healing in this. And the last thing I want to say, comments. I saw a comment from someone, I forget the name of the individual who was posting. There was a comment that you said, be nice to the people that you meet along the way up, because you could meet them on the way back down. My mother, she rammed that into me, that saying, be nice to people you meet on the way up, because you never know who you're going to meet on the way back down. And that is so relevant, I feel, to this eclipse and just to life in general. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I got it right here. Yeah. No, I hear it. I hear it. Body intelligence of Aries, super advanced, so hard to obey from the sheer speed. It happens so fast that, like, to trust it takes effort and many mistakes. And that's what I kind of learned about Aries. It's like, you know, the higher up the mountain you go, the harder it gets to take a step, right? The mountain gets skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. Because again, the ram is one that climbs just like the goat. And the higher you go, the more slippery it gets, the more the rock falls apart, the less people there are, right? You keep going, climb any mountain, the higher you go, there's less people. It gets quieter, the birds get louder, the wind gets stronger, the messages become more clear from your spirit, from divinity. The higher you climb, and this is one of the things, it kind of goes back to what you had just said. It's like, this is what I find is so important about, like, when I look at this eclipse, it's about taking more journeys alone. Like either that Temescal or going to take an eclipse by yourself somewhere in the cabin or the woods, because this is when Aries in the 4th house, right? The moon rules our 4th house. No matter what our house is, it rules our 4th house. This is when we start to understand how to grow into that body intelligence, that emotional intelligence of the body, and hear what is communicated, right? Whether, like this morning, I woke up and I had this massive mosquito bite that can't be a mosquito bite on my knee, and it's telling me something. Like, I'm like, okay, what you talking about? Like, what you want me to know, right? And so everything that happens to your body, hives, acne, everything that happens to your body, this is one of the ways that Aries can communicate, but it takes some practice. So, ladies and gents, hit the thumbs up, hit the likes button, follow Joe, Hannah, subscribe, whatever channel you're watching this on. I want to say I appreciate y'all for being here. This is a joy. I've heard a lot of people, even leading up to this, say how much they enjoy when the three of us connect. So yeah. I think it's a special thing to have 3 Aries moon astrologers, you know. And I really feel like we also pretty much shut down all the wild noise about what Aries moon is even about, because I feel like we all respect each other in a pretty clean and clear way. I don't feel like we're doing any of the classic Aries things that people scream about. And I feel like a lot of that starts with just respecting ourselves, right? And it allows us to respect the person across from us. So I want to say thank y'all for being beautiful examples of how powerful a moon in Aries can be, how mature it can be, right? Intelligent, sexiest.
Yes.
Yes.
We're the sexy ones in the Zodiac. Yes.
I get it, though. I get it. It's like one day you look in the mirror, you're like, damn, I look like that. Like, yeah, that's me. That's you. So, shout out to the fire, baby. We in that fire season. You can't shut us up. All that water in the sky. Once Mars and Pisces goes along, you know. But Yeah, go ahead and move your ass, baby. All right. Even though my solar return is gonna have a freaking Mars and Pisces this year, so I'm stuck.
Oh man.
I'm stuck here. It's it. But hey, it was a joy. I want to say thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for dropping the fire. Remember, check out Patreon for Hannah, 6-star reading for Joe, flash sale for me. It's all in our bios. I have all their information in our bio as well, links included. This is a joy. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, your Jupiter day. All right, we did our Jupiter duties and shared some philosophy, some brutal stories and more. J Lo, shout out to her. She wants me to send both of you. She sent me a document. She wants me to send both of y'all a doc, so I'll send it to your WhatsApp.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
think a little bit was about Cetus. I didn't see much because I was in a live with y'all, but she wanted me to send it to y'all, so I will. And then shout out to you, J Lo, for just giving in abundance. I want to say love. I'll see y'all soon.